VUEanalytics is a new way of looking at drivers' risk or the potential of the driver having an accident that involves an injury. In traditional telematics scoring, we generally measure braking, cornering, speeding and accelerating, which gives us a bit of an indication as to how a driver drives. But it doesn't really tell us very much contextually about where that driver's driving. So if I'm driving on a road in London, it's very, very different to if I'm driving on a road potentially in the middle of a rural area. I'm exposed to completely different risks in those areas, and traditional telematics scoring doesn't take that into consideration. What we do with VUEanalytics is we're looking at contextual data. So we're looking at things like the road surface, the quality of the road surface. We're looking at what the average traffic speed is on the road. We're looking at junctions. So what we want to be able to do is measure the way that people drive contextually in these areas. You know, there's a significant number of drivers out there. They spend a lot of time professionally driving. And this just isn't big trucks. This is cars, vans, any type of vehicle. We're just not aware how much we get distracted in a vehicle. And those lapses of attention and those things that we do to just get where we need to get quickly. And it's very important that we are made aware of it. This is the VUEanalytics risk dashboard. What this is doing is telling us which drivers are most likely to have an accident that involves an injury. In this chart here, we're able to see which drivers are displaying which particular risk factors and the accumulation of those risk factors. We've got a time period here, which is a week, and we can see that the risk factors are reducing, which is what we want to be able to see. And we can actually see the pattern of reduction of those risk factors. The grey line is the number of claims that we have in that same period of time. Ideally, we want to be able to see the numbers of risk factors reducing and obviously the number of claims reducing as well. In this area, we have claims information, so how many claims we've had, what the total cost of those claims are, and the average cost of those claims. And on the top right-hand side of the dashboard, we have a rows diagram that demonstrates which behaviours and which risks are most applicable to this particular fleet. In this particular case, driver error and environment are the highest risks, behaviour and fatigue are the lowest risks. In VUEanalytics, we are constantly analysing the types of roads that our drivers are travelling on. This is very, very important because depending on what type of road we travel on dictates what types of risks we are exposed to when travelling on those roads. And these charts here show us those risks. So this driver has a higher percentage chance of having an accident with an injury than a driver at the bottom of the list. And what we're able to look at here is the overall count of risk behaviours these drivers have demonstrated per trip. In these particular cases, we're looking at behavioural, judgment, environmental risks, driver error, potential fatigue, and the types of roads that we've been travelling on and the length of time we've been spending on those roads. And also the number of claims that these drivers have had whilst they've been driving. Obviously, we want to be able to break those risks down. So poor judgment, what does that actually mean? So in our particular case, it might mean travelling too fast for the road conditions. That doesn't necessarily mean speeding. We can be travelling too fast for the road conditions without actually breaking the speed limit. I might make an illegal turn, exceeding the speed limit, actually speeding, disobeying a pedestrian crossing, so going over pedestrian crossing without slowing down, or going over double white lines in a road. All of these risks can be easily seen in our definitions page. The diagram at the bottom shows which risks our fleets are exposed to. And on the left-hand side, we can actually see our claims data, so we can see what types of claims we are having. This is a very important correlation because we want to see, is it the drivers with the highest risk of having an accident with an injury that are having the claims, and what particular types of claims those are. We're looking for relationships between the types of drivers' risk and the types of claims that they are having. It doesn't necessarily mean that the driver with the highest risk of having an accident with an injury is going to be the driver that has the most frequency of claims. It could be that these drivers have the more severe accidents and lowest frequency. We are wanting to look at those relationships. really about their safety, in all honesty. This isn't Big Brother, it's about making you safer on the road. Hopefully, every day you will go home without having had an accident. And it's important to all of us.